Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Ramirez, co-founder and CEO of CognitOps. I'm on the New Warehouse podcast. My safety tip is treat every aisle the same way you would treat a busy street. Look both ways, stay alert when crossing, because the yellow lines, your ears, and your peripheral vision are your best friends.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer. Fulfillment demand continues to skyrocket and outpace available labor. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems. Utilizing 6 River Systems' award-winning combination of collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, and operational expertise will make your associates and wall-to-wall fulfillment workflow more efficient. No new infrastructure, no change to warehouse layout, easy to deploy and scale, easy to train and retain associates, all at half the cost of traditional automation. Want to take your fulfillment operation to the next level? Go to www.6river.com to learn more. That's www.6river.com to learn more.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I am joined by Alex Ramirez. He is the co-founder and CEO at CognitOps. And CognitOps is utilizing AI and machine learning to have a warehouse operating system. That's a warehouse operating system, not a WMS or anything of that nature. So Alex is going to tell us more about CognitOps. He's going to tell us what exactly is a warehouse operating system and what the difference is. And he's going to give us a little more insight into how AI can be utilized to kind of harness all the data that's being generated out there these days. So Alex, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, Kevin. How about you? Thanks for having me.
I'm well. We are in the week of ProMat here, so it's a little crazy trying to figure that out, especially virtually.
Thanks for fitting me in.
Yeah, definitely. Happy to have you on. Happy to learn about CognitOps. So why don't you tell us, what is CognitOps exactly? What is it that you guys do?
So CognitOps is a supply chain SaaS company, Kevin, that we founded in 2018 with my co-founder, Reese Mackin. Okay. We had just left Dematic, which acquired our former company, Redworks, which was a warehouse execution software company. And we serendipitously ran into each other at a startup event in Austin. We thought, why not give it a shot? We were looking at other founders giving pitches, some better than others, of course. And we had already successfully taken a startup to an exit in this space. And we knew there was just an incredible blue ocean of opportunity left to discover, especially in the warehouse. I think we have been good entrepreneurs in that we've stayed in our lane. The warehouse is our lane. We've gnashed our teeth and calloused our hands, delivering many systems in many dark warehouses. And so we decided to see what we could do here with all of our subject matter expertise. So at least our parents tell us that we're experts. We're headquartered in Austin, Texas. We've got 16 team members. And by the airing of this podcast, we'll have raised about $16 million in venture capital. So we feel incredibly blessed and fortunate to be really building a category-busting technology with CognitOps.
All right, great. And it sounds like, so you guys are fairly new, it sounds like. So how long have you been going at this?
We've been going at it in earnest since 2019, actually. In 2018, Reese and I canvassed the universe of former clients and partners and titans of industry, which there are many in the warehouse. And we had this vision that I'm going to describe here in a little bit around creating kind of this brain for the warehouse. And so we traveled quite a bit. We spoke to chief supply chain officers and EVPs and SVPs, and we said, gosh, if we build this thing, what do you think? And invariably, they would tell us, field of dreams, Kevin, if you build it, we'll buy it. And that's when Reese and I looked at each other and we said, gosh, how are we going to build this? And so we found Julian Cunahan from Schematic Ventures to lead our pre-seed round at the end of 2018. And then 2019 was about building a great team, a great product, landing a few customers and proving that we can go from vision market fit to product market fit. And we did just that. And we were extremely excited with the results by the end of 2019. And then, of course, 2020, the zombie apocalypse and the world ends.
Yeah.
We could navigate that story here in a little bit as well.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's good to know, and it sounds like it's something that's coming to a market that people are really interested in. And you mentioned kind of the brain of the warehouse, right? And you guys are kind of positioning yourself as a warehouse operating system or a WOS. And, we're obviously familiar with WMS, WES, WCS, all this stuff, right? So what's the difference? What's a warehouse operating system versus those types of systems?
Yeah. So before I get to the defining of a new acronym, and I trust many of your listeners are going to hear a new acronym and they're going to roll their eyes and shake their head. I don't think the industry needs another acronym, especially one that starts with W and ends with S. But I think the story of how we got here is important. And so when Reese and I got together, we really played a game of Pictionary. We were in my kids' playroom trying to figure out why our previous clients would express the same issues with flow and balance even after we successfully deployed RWES. And RedWorks, for many that don't know, was an on-premise warehouse execution system similar to the best of breed that exists out there today. But as we drew the personas in the warehouse, everybody that could influence flow and balance, we saw a single pattern, Kevin, and that was whether your building is fully automated or 100% manual, you have a human being making decisions using tribal knowledge. Right. And so we thought about helping this individual. Typically, they're called an operations manager, right? And we wanted to make help this person make the most of her systems, her processes, automation, and data. And here's a good example. Take two companies, the top two companies actually in the Fortune 500, Walmart and Amazon. If you do a quick search for their operations management jobs, you'll find the same troubling pattern. This leader is required to perform basically linear algebra on the fly every second of their day. And we as an industry have expected this person to be a bit of a magician. And this group think of just throwing the same requirements to this role is quite dated, if not completely broken, when you consider all the advancements headed to the warehouse floor, like drones and IoT, robotics. And so we thought about and designed this brain for the warehouse. And when we thought about like the definition of it, how do we make it familiar to a buying community that is probably already busy trying to interpret the other acronyms, we thought an operating system was appropriate. If we take the classical definition of an operating system, it's the software that supports the computer's basic functions like scheduling tasks, executing applications, controlling peripherals like printers, right? An OS is basically responsible for providing resources like RAM and disk space, right? And so if you think of the warehouse with its many applications and potential islands of automation, it's a perfect analog for this approach. And so to date, the methodology in warehouse system design has been to leverage integration, right? Integrate a bunch of systems together. But this integration doesn't make the operation manager's life easier. It just means that there's a dial tone between the systems, but not necessarily the right context and communication flowing through the systems, right? And so the operations manager and her direct reports waste a lot of time trying to figure out what that context is flowing from system to system. I think there was a survey by, I forget where, but they kind of canvassed this role across all types of warehouses, and they found that an operations manager is wasting anywhere from 2 to 3 hours daily on manual tasks that could easily be automated. And these tasks are, manually moving data between systems or exporting data for analysis using tools like Excel, right? The number one supply chain management tool out there, right? Microsoft Excel.
Oh, yeah.
And so imagine the explosion of waste that then occurs when this one person trying to pivot table data in Excel is responsible for hundreds more, right? And the slowness in her decision-making now amplifies and permeates slowness across hundreds of people. And this is why there's an incredible amount of value in helping these leaders make faster, better decisions. And we want to make operations managers a force multiplier of productivity. And so this OS model that takes all the data that's available and provides quick decisioning to the various systems and people is that force multiplier, right? And so when Reese and I thought about this blue ocean of opportunity, we thought, well, instead of building another WMS or ES or CS or, name the acronym, we chose to tackle this really tough problem of making the right decisions, right? And so our approach today is to complement the solutions that already exist. And when we talk about, potential clients, we'll talk about some case studies of integrating to these systems. So our warehouse operating system is essentially an operations manager in the cloud that taps into existing data, leverages machine learning to prescribe the best courses of action. And we think that the use of data to help people understand the context of the building is the right approach to deliver the right resources to each application and peripheries, kind of looping back to the classic definition of an operating system, right?
Very interesting. Yeah. And I think you have some amazing points there. I mean, operation manager myself by day. So I certainly feel the pain of what you're talking about there with Excel and deciphering all this data just to make some decisions on, where to move people or what the focus needs to be, or even at times like you mentioned, the tribal knowledge. Sometimes there's just those points in your day, or maybe the day that you're not there, where things get hung up because somebody is a little confused because they don't do that thing every day. And I think, part of the difficulty too of being an operations manager or warehouse manager is you're being pulled in a lot of different directions all the time.
Indeed.
And sometimes, you have some things that happen on the floor. Maybe there's, safety incident or something of that nature, or even maybe there's an issue with the system. It pulls you away from doing those, repetitive data analysis things that you need to do. And it can delay, certain operations and flows that need to happen. So being able to automate that type of thing is certainly a huge, huge win for operations, and, can certainly improve the productivity of, the workers and the operation manager themselves, and make them more effective and give them more chance to be on the floor and actually manage, which is, what they should be there to do. Right.
That's right. Yeah. Our vision, Kevin, is to unleash ingenuity to give rise to resilient businesses. And we stress the ingenuity part of it because we don't see AI as an evil agent that's coming after us. Instead, an agent that is going to free up time so we can be creative, so we can work on engagement, so we can work on, the human aspect of being leaders versus trying to play the whack-a-mole game and then wonder why I only have 22% engagement in my workforce, right? And so there's a simple life hack that CognitOps is delivering to our clients, and that is if I untether my operations manager from his or her desk because she knows that we're doing the calculations, we're munging, crunching, machine learning things and displaying it back to them in a very empathetic way so they can make decisions, well, then they can go and coach their employees. It's akin to why labor management systems have been so successful, right? The Hawthorne effect, you turn the lights on, everybody knows that they're being managed, so they work a little faster. Well, imagine having a leader that is engaging with her workforce more and with better quality. All of a sudden, you take that 22% engagement, you start to grow it without any advanced AI. People are going to feel like, hey, this is a great place for me to work because my manager is engaged. And so, giving them that mobility has been a big part of our customers winning as well.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
And now a quick break to hear from our sponsor, Supply Chain Mavens. The past year has been full of fascinating and complex supply chain news. From shortages and forecasting challenges, to issues with COVID-19 test components, to the never-before-seen speed to market of the vaccine. In the past year, logistics and supply chain professionals like you have been nothing short of miracle workers. Supply Chain Mavens helps your team to continuously improve by developing tailored training solutions to enhance your team's competencies so they can successfully work across all aspects of supply chain. They offer exam preparation for the coveted APICS, certified in logistics, transportation, and distribution designation, as well as education in topics across the supply chain. Visit them at supplychainmavens.net/new warehouse to learn how they can help you advance your team's performance. That's supplychainmavens.net/new warehouse. Now back to the show. Definitely, yeah, and I can 100% agree. When you're able to be out there and working with the employees and stuff, it makes a huge difference because even when they get stuck or something, you're more accessible. If you're not accessible, they get frustrated and they start to make their own decisions, and oftentimes it's the wrong decision. Yeah. And then it's more cleanup.
Way too many times. Yeah,
and there's more cleanup in the end anyway. So one of the things that's happening, as you mentioned, is there's more technologies coming into space. There's robotics, automation, all these different levels, all these different inputs coming in to the operation, which is creating just a massive amount of data, right? So I guess the overall mission for you guys is to tackle deciphering that data and kind of bringing it down to make better decisions based on that. So talk to me about how, because this is really, I guess, AI in itself has been such a, well, not lately, but in the past years has been such a artificial intelligence, whoa, what is that? Movie type stuff. So, but this is like a real practical application of AI that can really have a benefit for operations. So talk to me about how does the AI that you're utilizing decipher this data, and what does the output look like for that operations manager to make a decision based off of it?
Absolutely. So kind of an obligatory, disclosure. We are far away from Minority Report and precogs that can, just know what's going to happen in the future before it happens. So, our goal and our mission is to practically apply these frontier technologies and data sets to help people operate their buildings better. And so to us, the warehouse is such a unique environment for data. A common objection that people have against using ML is that bad data can throw off the training of a machine learning model. And I absolutely agree. However, the warehouse is strange when it comes to data. It has a ton of it, but it doesn't last very long. And I know this because I'm an arsonist putting out my own fire. A big reason why I think our partners, clients, and investors have built their conviction around CognitOps is because we have at times, perpetuated this broken model of just add another silo and hope that, things happen, or even exacerbated pain that they've already experienced. And so for us, when we look at traditional WMS systems, setting aside the explosion of data, the proliferation through, IoT and supply chain 4.0, et cetera, let's just take kind of a legacy environment that has WMS. WMS is likely either purging, archiving, or ETLing data from their production environments for the sake of maintaining, and I say this in air quotes, a lean, well-performing system. And so this makes it harder for these operations managers to, one, access the data, and two, use it in their wasteful data discovery process that you and I have just discussed, right? And so making sense of data is hard enough. Imagine adding barriers to access on top of that. And that this is why we believe the cloud, machine learning, and digital twins are important in leveraging warehouse data. And so when we think about kind of the primary aim of machine learning, it's to allow computers to learn, right, automatically without our intervention or assistance. That's all fun and games. But ML is useless if we don't give it contextual boundaries to learn in. And so we call this boundary a digital twin, which think of it as a logical simulation. We have our own proprietary tech behind it. But by giving our machine learning models a digital twin, we're able to look at this data in context, we're able to connect the dots, and we're able to store all of the data for perpetuity, leveraging the power of compute and storage in the cloud to do things like answer questions such as how to staff a warehouse and where to move people in real time, irrespective of the systems and the complexity of your warehouse, how to position inventory in the islands of automation or other pick areas to take advantage of the kinetic changes in SKU velocities and order profiles, or how to configure physical assets like put walls or goods person stations to maximize flow. And then lastly, how do you release the right work to compress order cycle time and maximize throughput? And so the way we do it is think of us as an agent that is sitting, for lack of a better kind of description, on top of a WMS and ancillary tools where these databases have to run lean. They're storing data in a very relational way. We're tapping into this data and we're taking incremental bites throughout the day to build out our own proprietary derivative data set to apply our models using the digital twin as a boundary to make sure that whenever I say, hey, Kevin, you need to move Alex from a goods to person station to replenishment because you're uneven, that it's a reasonable prescription and recommendation that can be acted on. And so we take this very practical approach to applying ML. It's not just saying, hey, give me access to a database. I'm going to slap on some time series model and hope that it just spits out an answer. Like we're far away from that type of self-service of machine learning. So we think we've got something very unique with how we're applying these frontier technologies to make sense of all of this data that's coming, but all the data that exists now, but just is kind of impermanent and doesn't last for very long. And so we're really enthused about kind of the acceleration of AI and ML, although I think MHI came out with a report last year that showed that just 12% of supply chain professionals say their organizations are leveraging AI. But there's growth in that. I think there was another study or survey that showed that the supply chain market is expected, or artificial intelligence in the market is expected to reach like 10 billion by 2025 or 2026 with like 50% CAGR, I remember reading. So I think people are waking up to the power of AI, and we're here to show them that it's not only possible, but practical in the use today, but you have to do it right, because just because there is data in the warehouse doesn't mean that it's usable for the models and the intelligence that you want to deploy.
Very interesting. And yeah, I think that, people are definitely waking up to it, especially in my conversations. And I think it's practical applications like this that is making the AI is making the data more decipherable. But I think the practical application is making the concept of AI more decipherable for the consumer as well and the end user. So Yeah. So I'm curious, you said, like, for example, it would say, you need to move Alex. It was your example too, from goods to person to packing or something. I forget the exact sample we gave.
Sure.
But what does that kind of message appear in the form of? Is it's like a dashboard, or how does that look? As if I'm the operations manager and
Sure.
I'm utilizing CognitOps, how am I seeing these types of decisions that need to be made?
Yeah, so they're seeing these recommendations through plain text.
Okay.
And so we built our platform to be mobile first. And so think of iPad, iPhone,
Right.
they're walking around the floor untethered from their, control tower. And I trust you've seen enough warehouses where you've got like the 8 screens on the little desk and somebody's trying to, decipher what's going on. We want to compress all those screens into, one very empathetic user interface and user experience that, although we see the value in dashboards, visualizations, analytics, like those data viz are important because they provide context and kind of this way to explain the evil AI. But where we want to get to is the translation of that visualization to the plain text recommendation, because I trust that you and your colleagues in the world, and soon on Mars, if Elon Musk gets his way, y'all have been spammed with Power BI and Tableau and a lot of data visualization projects. You need another chart, like, you need a hole in the head, right? And so charts are important because they provide explainability, but being able to say, hey, Kevin, here's in the iPhone app, there's a little bell, you press on it, it says, I need you to activate 20 more put walls. I need you to move Alex from this area to the next. And by the way, your wholesale channel is projected to be only 80% complete. I need you to go release some more work, right? And so quickly, they can then go to the applications that are purpose built to do work, right? And not to narrow the scope and the value of WMSs, because they do a lot. But historically, I think we've overextended the capabilities of a lot of these systems to be not just execution, but also planning. There's got to be something else that's allowing them to think, to be creative, to plan, and allow these WM, E, and CSs to do what they should be doing, which is executing the assignment. So show the recommendation and allow them through that guidance to actualize the recommendation by pressing the right buttons in the systems they have.
Yeah, very interesting. And I love that it's actually text inside.
Yep.
Because like you said, another chart, another dashboard is just, it's overwhelming. So, but I love that. Yeah. Because it gives you that, like you said, it gives you the ability to be on the floor still, and you get the message and you see oh, okay, this is what I need to do. Let me head over there and do that, or let me radio to my guy over there and get them to move the people that need to be moved or take whatever action it is. So I think that it's like a huge benefit and definitely a lot of freedom, which can allow for more effectiveness and more productivity. So with the implementation of CognitOps, I'm curious, what are some of the initial big wins and savings that an operation can expect to get when they implement a platform like this?
Yeah, some of our clients include Sephora, Medline, Deckers brands, and a multi-billion-dollar Midwest-based super center chain. And these clients run the gamut of both building profiles, Kevin, like manual all the way to fully automated. They run the gamut in solution providers using Manhattan Associates, Blue Yonder, High Jump, Dematic, AutoStore, Canap, you name the usual suspects, they're running them. The initial big wins are always around labor productivity. And we built CognitOps to really think about optimizing the warehouse while in concert across, end to end. We also think about the 4 fundamental elements of every building. It's people, it's demand, it's your supply, and then it's your equipment. At the end of the day, I see a warehouse as someone moving something on a piece of equipment against a demand signal, right? And so we attack labor first because that's the lowest hanging fruit. That's something that can be attributed very quickly with our models and prescriptions around removing idle time and waste. And so this labor productivity is always the initial win. And it's really around getting the right number of people in the building and then positioning them in the best place to guarantee balance and flow. We love the word flow. Our customers love the word flow. Supply chain loves the word flow.
Oh, yeah.
And we know that the best warehouses aren't the ones where you have the fastest rates in one area, because you could be going really fast in pick and introducing a whole lot of waste and rework downstream, right? So how do we create that balance? And so by leveraging data across their systems, the systems that I recently mentioned, we've been able to save our clients millions of dollars in direct labor reduction. The premise is actually quite simple. If their operations managers use this operations manager in the cloud, right, to deliver insights and recommendations faster than their tribal ways, then we reduce idle time and therefore waste. And so this impact also amplifies our clients' abilities to increase throughput, because if I recommend the right labor move and the right equipment configuration and the right order release, well, then we take this very one-dimensional approach of, well, I just need to drive rate, or I need to increase throughput, or I need to, make sure that, my stockouts are zero. Well, we're taking a very kind of one-dimensional approach to optimizing the warehouse, and we're making it exponential, because the math and the power of the cloud in our system is able to look at all of those four variables and optimize them in concert. And so getting people in the right place at the right time, along with those other dimensions, has allowed our clients to save millions of dollars in idle time and direct labor waste. Secondly to that, we've seen a dramatic compression of order cycle time, because if I can recommend what demand you should be releasing and tell you how to configure your equipment to reduce the dwell time of, an assignment in a goods to person piece of automation, or a pallet on a loading dock, or a cubby in a put wall, well, then now that cycle time compression allows you to process more through that piece of equipment. And so we've seen a dramatic increase in throughput as well. And that's been a big savings or revenue generator for our clients. And so we cross all those dimensions, but the easiest one to really kind of wrap your head around, well, what is it that CognitOps is doing? I think is on the labor side. Get the right people, get them in the right place, and everything else follows.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, moving people to the right place, like as you said in the beginning, it's like this, this magic that you have to have, right, to make sure you put the people in the right place. Because, certainly, obviously you have great employees sometimes, but sometimes you have employees, if they don't have any work, they're not going to say anything until you notice, right? They're thinking, oh, I got an easy day today, so I'll chill out a little bit. But, being able to see that and have some type of alert to be able to do that, especially as you get into these larger facilities as well, and larger teams, it's hard to be every place at once, right? So it's definitely really, really cool what you guys are doing. And I think that it's going to make a huge impact on the industry. It sounds like already you're saying your clients are saying,
from your lips to God's ears, my friend.
Yeah. So, you remember I said that, right? So.
Yes. We'll give you full attribution.
There we go. So, so, I mean, it's really cool stuff. And I think it's, like I said before, it's a practical application of the AI and the machine learning, and it makes total sense to utilize it in this way. And I think it's only going to make those operations managers and people within the warehouse more effective and more productive, which is what we're always aiming to do. And I think it's really good stuff. So Alex, I want to thank you for joining me on the show today. How can people find out more information about CognitOps?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kevin, for hosting me. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. Best place to reach us is info@cognitops.com, or you can email me directly, alex@cognitops.com, and happy to answer questions and follow up with anybody's need for more information. So look forward to answering your audience's questions through info or alex@cognitops.com.
Okay, great. And we'll put those links at thenewwarehouse.com as well. So Alex, thank you again for your time on the show today.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the new warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the new warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.